Welcome to Priceless Takes.
And we are live from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome back, everyone, to Priceless Takes episode 32. I am your host, Luca Price, and joining me today, we have a full panel of guests. We have Oscar Hardcastle, Tyson McMullen, and Ruben Lind back on the show. How are you all today?
Very well.
Doing superb.
Fantastic.
That is great to hear, gents. We have a lot to get into, a lot going on in the NBA. It is entering finals season. Now, we know one of the teams that will be representing themselves in the NBA finals, and that is the Denver Nuggets, who swept the Lakers the other day. The Miami Heat and Boston Celtics are still fighting out for the second spot to take on the Denver Nuggets, but no matter who Denver faces, it is looking like they will be the early favorites. But we're going to get straight into it, guys, with those Denver Nuggets because they eliminated the Los Angeles Lakers in dramatic fashion, sweeping the Lakers in 4 games after a 113-111 victory at the Crypto.com arena. Now, for the final possession of the game, Aaron Gordon blocked LeBron James's game-tying layup that would have sent it to overtime. And this was how the Lakers season ended, so quite disappointing. Ruben was the only one in the panel who had Denver advancing. So, Ruben, I'm going to ask you first, what happened to the Lakers in this series?
I think they matched up against a better team. Like, we saw all 5 starters step up all in their own way. Like, we've seen the first few games, Jokic played brilliant the first 3 quarters, and then when they needed to take it home, you saw Jamal Murray step up. In game 2, he had 20-plus points in the fourth quarter. Like, that's going to carry you home. And I think as well with the other starters, like Aaron Gordon stepped up huge in the game 4. He was 0-6 in the first 3 games from 3, shot 3 of 5. He was like the Lakers were just daring him to shoot because he wasn't shooting well. He's not known for his 3-point shot, but he was hitting them. They were all stepping up. Caldwell Pope averaged a good 15, 44% from 3. MPJ nearly averaged a double-double, having 15 and 9. And in game 3, he actually had a career high of 6 assists. So I'm not going to discredit the Lakers at all because they played well. But I think the Nuggets are just the better team. And I saw this from the start.
T-Man, you go. I got a bit of a
Nice,
spiel.
you're the Lakers fan, so
Yeah.
I want to hear
Yeah,
what you thought as well.
well, Denver just
After
came
the
to play.
tears.
They wanted it more, Lakers, when we needed people to step up and do their roles, some of them couldn't provide. As sad as it is, I still think it's a good run from a team that had a 2% chance of making it to the Western Conference Finals. But the team assembled a few weeks before playoffs, so I think pretty good run. But in the series, LeBron was LeBron. Gotta respect him, although he had some um, was it questionable turnovers in one of the games, game 3, I think, which costed them. AD was a bit too
Mm.
passive after the first game. Austin Reeves brilliant though, very consistent. But again, the Nuggets, if one player went down, they had another one stepping up, so they just were more
I
prepared.
I think what it came down to was finishing games because game 2 and game 4 could have both gone either way, but the Lakers in the fourth quarter in game 2 and in the third quarter in game 4 just failed to step up and finish off the game, which they did brilliantly earlier in the season. They finished games, they went to overtime and finished games really well in the season. So I think that's what it came down to is it could be 2-2 right now. So they just couldn't finish games, and the Nuggets just had the poise and the calmness in the early stages to finish off the game and win it. So yeah,
Yeah, listen, they just kept on stepping up, and the Lakers were throwing everything they could at them. But in the end, Oscar, you really summed it up well. The series came down to a matter of plays. Because you talk about game 2 and game 4, but even in games 1 and 3, the Lakers were still in positions where they could win. So to lose 4 close games, Denver were a better team, but they were just executing better. And for the most part, what I thought was going to happen happened, just not really in the way that it could have turned out because Jokic and Murray really matched LeBron and AD for the most part. For the most part of the series, they matched each other. But it was those other players for Denver that stepped up more than those Lakers players. D'Angelo Russell was just looking absolutely lost in that series. He averaged 6 points per game. Now, this is a guy who we've seen score 19 points in a quarter in an elimination game against the Golden State Warriors.
He's still loading.
And
He's still loading.
and for him to not
I need
step
to turn
up,
off.
this is something that we said the Lakers need to continue doing because the Lakers players needed to step up. He got benched in the game 4. They took him completely out of the starting lineup. You look at someone like Hachimura. Look, he's had a great playoff run, but he didn't play particularly well in that game 6. The game 4, the elimination game. Austin Reeves gave you 21 and 5 on 55% three-point shooting, which is insane, but they still needed more because this Denver team is still so loaded. 5 out of their 7 players who got more than 20 minutes shot 40% plus from 3. And you look at a game in game 4, LeBron had 40 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. He had 30 points, 31 points, 30 points, I think, 30 or 31 points, 31 in the first half. Record, he had 21 points in the first quarter, 4 or 4 from 3. But Denver just kept on hunting them down every single game. And Jokic, in particular, he averaged 28, 15, and 12 for the series. Jamal Murray averaged 32 points per game on 50, 40, 95 splits. Now, that is something we can't overlook. These guys balled out, and they deserve all the respect that they are given.
Yeah, what the Nuggets played ridiculously, but I feel like I still think, and I know Michael Malone was pissed about people talking about what the Lakers could have done and what the instead of talking about what the Nuggets did, but the Lakers, the series could have gone either way, and as you said, Luca, it came down to those role players stepping up even more than they have been, and you know. Besides Austin Reeves, we didn't really see much of that from Rui and Lonnie, and so they were playing Tristan Thompson.
That was only
they
game 4 though. They had to try something.
Yeah, I know, but they were running out of ideas and running out of things to do and to try and stop that guy. So yeah, it's a tough series for the Lakers.
Yeah, look, it was a tough series, but Denver battled. And I think with the whole Mike Malone thing, this is what their sort of identity has been built on. The fact that no one shows them respect. And, they're just chilling up in Denver doing their thing.
Because it's Denver.
Well, that's what I mean. But this is the whole thing that their mentality has been built on. But we will switch gears. Staying with Denver, Ruben, I'm going to come back to you. Obviously, we look at what's going on right now in the Eastern Conference. We're going to a Game 6 in 2 days' time back in Miami. Denver's going to be resting. If you're the Nuggets, do you want to face the Celtics or the Heat in the NBA Finals?
I think you'd want to play the Celtics just because they're really inconsistent. And the Nuggets have the best home record. I know they're not great away, but the Celtics at home in the playoffs, I think, are either 500 or under 500. So I just think for those reasons, I'd rather play the Celtics and playoff Jimmy as well, obviously.
Yeah, I agree with Ruben there. I just think the Nuggets will probably win the first 2 at home. Is it the first 2 at home for the Nuggets? If the Celtics go through, or is it the
I'm
Celtics
pretty
home?
sure Celtics would have home
I think it's
court
Celtics.
because the Celtics
Yeah.
have the better
So-
record, even though Denver's the 1 seed.
So even better for the Nuggets if the Celtics go down a game in the first 2 or lose both, it's just game over, and they can't afford to do that. So I think they'll want to see the Celtics as well.
Tyson?
I would have to say the Celtics because they're more towards like the 4 or 5 position. They don't really have an answer for Jokic, really, as where Adebayo can probably
Really?
step up.
I see Robert Williams. He's a pretty good rim
Oh,
protector.
what Al did on Joel just showed it.
Mm,
I don't think many people can stop Jokic, but I do agree with
I would say Bam has a better chance of stopping Jokic than
I
Williams.
I would agree that Jokic would have a harder time guarding Bam than
Hmm.
guarding
Oh, on defense.
Al or on
Oh,
defense.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. No,
So I
I
think
agree.
Ben,
Yeah.
I think so that's what I think. But I think that the matchup's
Well,
probably pretty good
Tyson, sorry, I
for
might have misheard you.
the Celtics.
Are you saying talking about Jokic on defense, or are you talking about Bam guarding Jokic on offense?
Sort of both ways,
Okay.
if you look at it both ways. I mean, you could probably make an argument for either Robert Williams or Bam, but I'd say Bam would probably provide more problems towards Jokic than Robert Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Look, I just think that.
I liked it.
No,
Yeah,
you
go.
go. You go first. I got next.
Well, just because of what Al was doing on Joel and Robert was doing on Joel Embiid, like kept him to minimal
Yeah,
points the whole series. So
yeah. That's what I'm sort of saying as well because you're not going to expect.
they're not known as
Yeah,
defenders, but
yeah. Well, I'd say
they've
Robert
been doing
Williams
all
is more
right.
known as a defender, but also like you're not going to give
Yeah,
Bam like because then
just
who do you
athletic.
have? You have Cody Zeller, who you're going to expect to guard like Jokic. You can't expect Bam to go toe to toe with Jokic for 48 minutes a game. Like at least with the
No.
Celtics, you have Horford and Williams, who you can kind of switch around on Jokic. And I believe that just because they're a bit taller and a bit more physical, especially Williams, Bam will really try. But Bam's only 6'9", I think.
The 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 one thing the Heat do have is they play that zone
Yeah, they
terrifically
do.
well. So I think Jokic will struggle more against that zone than say a Boston man defense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting angle. I think maybe Jokic would struggle, but no, I don't think he would struggle permanently. I think maybe it's situationally. But listen, I'm disagreeing with all of you because personally, we'll get into this later, but I think the Miami Heat are in a little bit of trouble right now. But not even just because of the way they're playing, they're just getting injured. Like we saw Gabe Vincent. He's been one of their best playoff performers. He was out today. And Jimmy,
he had one
well,
good
no, but
game.
I'm saying what was he? I think they're 15-5 these playoffs, or in Gabe Vincent's career when he started in the playoffs, something like that. And also he made some big shots on that as well. Jimmy Butler, I still believe, is nursing that ankle injury that he picked up against the Knicks. I don't think he's playing completely healthy. He had 5 of 10 from the field today. He was passive, and the Heat never had a chance to even win. But just from a matchups perspective, I just think that the way also that Denver has Jamal Murray, I think that the Celtics could also probably throw more at him as well. But I just think that the Heat don't have as much talent as the Celtics do, and I think it's going to catch
Well,
up with them in the final.
we
Yeah,
know
but I
this,
think in the NBA Finals, it's going to catch up with them.
and
I
they've
just don't. I just don't think.
you can say that, but it's
I just don't.
it's
If,
it's
if
one of them
I'm if
things.
I'm Denver, I'm looking at you're probably going to have your hands full with Tatum and with Brown. If you're Aaron Gordon and if you're MPJ, right? And then I just think matchup wise, the Celtics are not as good of a matchup for the Nuggets as the Heat are. I just think matchup wise, Denver would kill the Heat more than they would the Celtics. I think they're a lot more versatile and can throw a lot more different looks at the Nuggets than the Heat can.
But do they? They've got two scorers.
Well, Derek White and Marcus Smart both also had 20 points today. So, I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah,
We know what the
but what
Celtics are
happened in the
capable
first
of,
two
but they
games?
barely showed it.
yeah. Well, look,
They,
Yeah, we all know. Yeah, I agree with Rubes there. We know what they're capable of. They should be wiping the Heat away, but they're two scorers that all season have been putting 20, 25 plus points up a game, aren't doing their thing, and haven't done until the last two
yeah.
games,
Look,
obviously.
we will see who actually does advance to the finals, and then we can definitely get into some more matchup talk. But we will keep on the Lakers because there were some interesting remarks post game that got a lot of people talking, and that was about one LeBron James, and he was questioning his retirement really publicly for the first time in his career. And this is the quote that I got from the interview. He quoted from LeBron, I got a lot to think about just personally with me moving forward with the game of basketball. I got a lot to think about. Tyson, I'm going to ask you first because you are the resident Lakers fan on this panel. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the chance is that LeBron James retires after this season?
Zero.
Wow, very
That's what I was
firm.
gonna say.
Okay.
Zero. He's not retiring. He's getting his foot fixed and he's running it back. The GM and Rob Pelinka are gonna make some money moves, and we're gonna be in the
Kyrie.
same position. We're going all out. But this is probably um what would you say, like our last big shot with LeBron, I'd say,
It is your last shot with LeBron, I
until
think.
Bronny comes into the league and maybe he changes ways and goes wherever he wants to go. But this is next season will probably be our last chance to go big with Bron. So I reckon Rob Pelinka will go big, make some money moves, and we're gonna make things happen. LeBron's gonna be nice and rested, foot fixed. He's gonna put AD back in order, smack him a bit, and Austin Reeves is gonna be the man as well. So I reckon I'm excited.
You
You're
paying
paying
Austin
Austin
Reeves and
Reeves?
Rui?
Of course, I'll pay them personally.
Get rid of Dennis though, I'd say.
As yeah, as Gilbert Arenas said, the whole
Yeah,
tournament's gonna go.
yeah.
They're all gonna go. They're all gonna go. Just keep AR, Rui, Bron, AD. Well, even AD's got no. No, I think I'm taking Rui and Reeves.
Sign
I'm
and trade
I'm
D'Lo.
signing trade dealer out of here. Maybe Dame might come over.
Oh,
Trade Young.
Oh, I hate Lakers fans, bro. I hate
Come
'em.
No,
on.
but sign and trade dealer. We'll get someone else to fill in that guard position. But I think Lakers have found a stable sort of rotation at the moment, and I think they'll keep it and then perfect it and run it back. So I think LeBron will stay and keep playing.
I completely agree with Tyson there. LeBron is a known crybaby, and he's an emotional man, and he's just lost 4-zip in the conference finals. I think he's running it back. He's going to go le GM mode. He's going to get a few pieces, and he's going to run it back because it's his last season on the contract, isn't it? Next
no,
season.
no. He has.
No, it's up to
I think
2025.
after this season, he's got a player
Yeah,
option.
so he no. So he
Player
would
option.
play
So
next season, and then after next season, he would have the player option. If that's what you were saying, Ruben, which is what I think you were.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
what
he's
I'm
got
Yeah,
two more
potentially.
seasons on his contract,
Potentially.
pretty much. Okay.
saying. Yeah.
Okay, so
Hmm.
it's probably, and there's people saying that he can't be the number 2 guy anymore. He's not good enough to be the number. That is ridiculous.
agreed.
He's good enough. He showed in game 4. He's still good enough, and he was fantastic all season when he was playing. And just I think he's going to take care of his body and still be LeBron next season, and he'll be back. He'll miss it, And people saying he's going to take a year off. You can't come back from that. So yes, I think he's staying.
Like, I'm gonna give it probably. I agree with Oscar and Tyson. I'll probably give it like a 2 out of 10. I think LeBron just after getting swept as a business feels at the moment. And what has he been saying all season for the last few years? What's his
Right.
number one dream? He wants to play with his son.
Play with
So
his
I
boy.
think he'll play another season. He'll run it back. I think as he gets older, the only reason I'd give it a 2 out of 10 or 0 out of 10 is because he is 38. He is in year 20, heading into year 21. So he's got to be more careful now that injuries are starting to slowly appear now.
Yeah, but
And I
people
think
thought
if
he
the
was going to
foot
play for
becomes
4 more years.
well, and I think if the foot becomes more of an issue, then
Yeah.
that could really jeopardize his career. That's why I give it a 2 out of 10. But I do see LeBron coming back next
Yeah,
season.
this is
Fine.
the thing because LeBron wasn't really clear whether the motion for him questioning his retirement was it because of the mental fatigue that going through an NBA season takes on you. You got to go through the regular season, then the playoffs, and the
He's
finals. And he's done it for 20 years, but he's constantly doing it. He didn't say whether it was because of that, or like what Ruben you were saying, he didn't say whether it was because it was more of a health issue. Now, the reports did come out today that LeBron was playing with I think it was a torn patella tendon in his foot, basically throughout the majority of the playoffs. So he did re-aggravate it, and it could be something serious, but we don't really know at this point in time. It's going to be something that's going to continue to unravel. But assuming that LeBron is healthy, I do not give him much of a chance to retire at all either. I think especially he's in LA. His son is also going to be in LA, really playing college. This is something that he really wants. I've heard some sort of theories about how he would retire for a year and then wait for where Bronny gets drafted and then try go there.
You
but
just can't
the
come back from
contracts
that.
wouldn't work. I mean, you could. I mean, Jordan came back from it, so maybe LeBron just wants to be like Jordan.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he wore
Michael
the
Jordan.
23 in the first place, so you never know.
Bro, he will
He
get
might, he
rinsed
might,
if he does what
he
Jordan
might
does.
want to
He will
do
get
that.
rinsed.
Yeah, what if he stops and goes play football or something?
That would be sick. Now I like that. Go play for the
Yeah,
Chargers or
listen,
something. That would be
I don't
sick.
Like
give
Man United
LeBron
or
a
something.
real shot at retiring.
Imagine we see him at tight end next season.
Yeah, listen, I think the other thing is,
That'd be crazy.
Oscar, you were sort of saying, is it takes away from the attention that LeBron just got swept in the playoffs. And that's also an angle to look at. That we saw the anonymous Western Conference GM talk about it. Like to someone, he said, yeah, now no one's going to talk about LeBron getting swept. Everyone's going to talk about him retiring. So you could also argue it was a good PR move for LeBron as well. Yeah. Yeah, listen, we will continue because we do have some current basketball to talk about, and that is in the Eastern Conference to see who will face off against Denver in the NBA Finals. The Celtics dominated the Miami Heat today, winning game 5, 110 to 97. Boston had 4 out of their 5 starters score 20 plus points, while the Miami Heat never really looked in the game from the beginning. Boston went on a 23-7 run to start the game, and they never really looked back. Look, teams are 0 and 150 when trailing 3-0 all time. The Celtics have a chance to rewrite history. They go back to Miami for a game 6, and then if game 7 did occur, they would go back to Boston. So there's been a lot of buzz around sports media talking about, how if Boston are going to win game 5, which they did tonight, they would go on to win the series. But you can't count playoff Jimmy out, as Oscar will continuously remind me. But I will start with you, Oscar, because you have been a Jimmy Butler fan for a while. You're one of his biggest advocates, I know.
Have been.
Can the Celtics make history and come back from 3-0 down?
I I mean, the
No.
statistics aren't looking great for them. What was the stat?
150.
What was it?
150 or something.
0 and 150. The statistics aren't looking great for them. I mean, it's not obviously impossible, and they're looking much better than those first 3 games in the last 2 games. So they're shooting better, they're making their shots, which I think that the Heat got blessed with a lot of missed shots in the first 2 games. But you know, I think they're out-coached. I reckon Spo's got some things in the back pocket, and they're going back home for Game 6. I think they should take Game 6. I mean, people are saying Game 6 is their Game 7. I don't agree with that. I think the Heat can compete
Yeah.
in the TD Garden. It's just about Jimmy needs to score the ball, does what he does best. For the past few games he's been facilitating, and in this playoffs he's done a lot of facilitating instead of scoring, and scored when he's had to. He hasn't done that the past 2 games, and he needs to get back to his scoring ways. Go back to getting to the hole, making his threes, making his mid ranges, and getting his free throws, and it also what Shaq says every single time the Heat play is delegation. They gotta get other guys, and someone needs to pop off on that bench for them every single game. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough 2 games. It's going to be a tough Game 6 for the Celtics and the Heat, but I think they take it next game in Miami.
Yeah, I agree with Oscar. Look, I just think like I know that the Heat lost today, but I just think they got off to a slow start because they still did shoot
Shot
52% from the
terribly.
field, 39% from three this game. The only difference I saw was Miami Heat had 16 turnovers and the Boston Celtics had 9 turnovers. So it's not good for them. And look, I know a few people on the panel have said Jimmy needs to shoot more, but I think it's kind of hard because Jimmy's trying to do everything. And I think, as Oscar said, like there needs to try and be more delegation because Jimmy Butler at the same time is trying to play the point, the two, the three, and the four. So I think if there's more delegation, then I think the Heat can close down Game 6. I do think they'll close down Game 6. But my final point that I want to get across is what is Kyle Lowry doing? Game 1. besides his 15 points, he's been averaging 6, 4, and 4. And in the last 2 games, he's been averaging like 30 minutes. So I think from a veteran point of view, I understand he's 36 and he's aging, but we do need more output from him. And I think if they do get more output from him, then I see the Heat winning. But it's not
T-Man,
impossible for the Celtics to come back.
T-Man, just before you speak, Rubes, what I mean, we looked at what Jimmy could do in big games
Milwaukee.
against the Bucks and New York. He put up major numbers when he needed to, 40 points, and I think 56 points or whatever it was. And if he does that, and plays the game, shoots the ball a bit more and gets to his spots a bit more, I think it's going to be a pretty cozy win for him next game. And I think that's what they need.
Do we know if
Questionable,
Davis is playing
but
next game?
it's not looking great. You think so?
He'll play.
But it doesn't matter. The
Gabe
Celtics
Vincent
in
will clutch it.
7. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if he's playing or not. Celtics are gonna win. They're gonna make history. I can already see it. I can see it. The script is perfect. They're coming back. I think Celtics have finally found their groove. I think they're gonna pick up a bit of momentum. I mean, obviously losing at home sucks, but they've won out on the road. Come back at home, get the game 6 dub, force a game 7 with momentum. They're going to take advantage of Gabe Vincent being out because because they know who the ball's going to go to, Jimmy Butler, all right? But I really think Celtics are going to their role players stepping up. Derek White cannot miss. He can't miss. Grant Williams was shooting like 60% the past 2 games from 3, something like that, 50, 60%. That's quite good. And
Marcus Smart
Marcus
as well.
Smart, Marcus Smart popped off today, but I do think they can carry it over. And although I just need more production from Jaylen Brown. He's really lacking, which is causing the Celtics to
Take the under. Take the under. Always take the under for him.
Put the house on it. Take the under. Yeah, but no, if Celtics play like they do today and Jaylen Brown finally becomes Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Jaylen Brown, but I don't know about Jaylen Brown, but he's been playing with that elbow injury that he sustained in game 1 they've been talking about, but he's averaging 17 points per game on 40, 20, and 44 shooting splits, which is extremely
Take the under.
underwhelming.
Take the under.
Extremely underwhelming. But
be
look,
the under.
the 6th man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, has also had next to no impact because they've been he's been injured as well. He's got a torn tendon.
Dario got snubbed.
Got a torn tendon in his
Dario
arm, so
Saric
they're not
got
getting
snubbed.
that production. So we've seen Grant Williams step up off the bench, and we've seen the starters step up because they could not buy a basket in the first 3 games. But if there's one thing that I know, and I would like to think we all agree, but we might not, is that when both teams are playing at their best, Boston are the better team. And I'll live by that until I die, because that is just what I believe. When both teams are at the peak of their powers, Boston are just better. And I believe that they've shown that to you in these last 2 games, because the Heat,
Miami weren't playing at the peak.
they need to get it done, because the longer they let it creep out, the more confidence Boston gets, and the more the Heat are going to get nervous. And I know Jimmy's smiling, and I know he's still having a good time, but he's a minus 44 overall in the last 2 games since he did the famous timeout emote. He's shooting 20% from the field in 4th quarters. He's not playing up to standard. Now, Jimmy Butler needs 1 game. He needs 1 game out of 4. And you would think that after what we've seen from Jimmy Butler in these playoffs, he would be able to win 1 out of 4 games. But Jimmy Butler has got to step up for the Heat because he has not played at all himself in these past 2 games. He's been getting flat out shut down. And honestly, it looks like at times he's his own worst enemy. That's what I'm saying with the ankle. He doesn't look like he's there half the time. He looks like he's there, but he hasn't been playing with that same killer instinct that we've known him to play. Now with Gabe Vincent out, who's going to step up? Bam's averaging 16 and 8. Caleb Martin's been the unsung hero in these conference finals. He's been averaging 18 points per game, 60% field goal off the bench. But Miami, in these last 2 games, has resorted to what they have been throughout the whole season. They were not a good 3-point shooting team, guys, and they have just gotten crazy hot all of a sudden in the playoffs. So now they're coming back down to earth. But this is the thing. Now it's 1 out of 2. It's not 1 out of 4 anymore. They've had 2 games. Now they have 2 more. And you've lost 2 in a row. Now, I bet against Jimmy Butler so many times, and he keeps proving me wrong. And I feel like a bit of an idiot. But I honestly, I'm very tempted to do it again. Because I'm very tempted.
Bet against them. Put the house on it.
I'm very tempted to do it again.
Put the house on it.
Because I'm just not liking. I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
Put the house on it, and put your money where your mouth is.
I do believe that Boston will come and win this game, Game 6. And I do believe. Well, yeah, I do.
There's no one's done it before. You think that bum-ass Boston team's going to do it? No way.
The Atlanta Hawks in the play-in, and we're 3 minutes away from losing to your Chicago Bulls in the play-in as well. Okay, now they've gotten insanely hot. Okay.
The Celtics lost without
Did the Celtics lose to the Hawks as well?
It doesn't matter because...
What are you...
No.
So it matters if it's the Heat, but it doesn't matter. Okay,
matters,
I see where it is. I see where your mind's at.
It matters, but it's not a deciding factor, okay? Because the Hawks weren't a good team, okay? And the Heat, maybe, like, they lost to them. That was in a do-or-die game, okay? The Hawks and the Celtics, that's completely different because you have a 7-game series, okay? And we know... They beat the Bucks and they beat New York, which they weren't supposed to do either of those 2 things. We know they're inconsistent, okay? But
they were supposed to get whitewashed by Celtics.
They're hitting their stride, okay? And I back Jason Tatum because I know that he actually... Because... No. Because listen.
No one's ever saying that.
He still has not had a takeover game in this series yet, okay? He still hasn't.
Can we just talk about Tyson being the biggest Lakers fan and loves the Celtics as well? He is.
Hey, well, who beat your boyfriend Joel Embiid? Who beat him?
Yeah.
The Celtics, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the Celtics lost without Embiid in Game 1.
I'm not surprised if you take a Kobe jersey off your wall and put up a Jason Tatum jersey.
Me and him go way back. Jason Tatum. We go way back. So it's fair enough. I better respect it.
Jeez.
We go way back.
I just think
I saw him in person.
Yeah, Ruben,
so
what do you have to say?
Connection at first sight.
I mean, then, well, he were up 3-1, and then the Knicks won Game 5, and then there would have been some questions if the Knicks were able to come back, and the Heat completely shut them down. And then we've seen in Lakers series as well, Lakers against the Grizzlies. Lakers were up 3-1. The Grizzlies got a game back. People were going, oh, could the Grizzlies come back now? Lakers wiped the floor with them. Same thing the Warriors series. So I said the same thing, like, the Celtics are just being overhyped, and they have to do it in Miami's ground. And the Celtics are just too inconsistent.
I don't think that being overhyped. You got to realize it is the first 1 seed in the East.
They are the 1 seed.
Yeah, but
you got to realize it's not like
the 2 seed, no?
But yeah, 2 seed.
Bucks for the first.
Oh, 2. Sorry. It's not like the
forget about the Bucks.
Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, the Celtics are better than Grizzlies. So you got to realize they are the Celtics. They're still a bloody good team.
The Heat,
anything's possible.
But they're capable of losing 2 games against the Hawks.
Yeah, okay.
Game without Embiid.
It happened, but they're here, okay? So we know they can overcome adversity. So why can't they do it again? Why can't they do it again? I'm just saying.
Luka, you were the one that brought up the Hawks.
They went 3-2 to Philadelphia with a Game 6 in Philadelphia, and they overcame that, okay? If they can do that, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Philly
the Celtics choked a 2-1 lead to the Warriors last season. When it comes down to the wire, they choke.
Agree with you, but in the Eastern Conference, I still think the Celtics are the best team right now. They're better than the Miami Heat. Yes.
So you just think they're going to create history out of thin air? No way, bro. Luka, do you know why it's 0-150? It's because no one can do it. It hasn't been done before.
It would be against
impossible.
An 8 seed who is extremely overachieving right now, with a 2 seed who has home court, who is the better team and should win this series because there aren't too many circumstances like the circumstances we are now. This is why I believe that Boston can reasonably come back. And I believe that they will come back because I just think they have found a groove and they're going to back it up. And I think they're going to come back and they're going to shock the world. And I'm riding with them. I picked Boston in 7, whether it was a 3-0 comeback, a 3-2, a 3-1. I picked him in 7, and I'm sticking him 7. Okay? I don't care how they're going to die. They're going to get it done.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
You gotta see these things. That's why we say 7.
All right?
We know what's happening. All right. Oh.
If they get if they get a little bit of production
Well,
out of
my
Max
name's
Strus
so who
and Gabe
knows?
Vincent, it's game over. That's all I'm saying.
4 out of 5 stars had 20 plus.
Okay,
in game
Duncan
5.
Robinson. It doesn't matter. If any 3-point shooter, they get a little bit of production out of him, and it's game. And Jimmy does his thing. Oh, oof.
Yeah.
Don't mind that. You bet against Jimmy. You bet against Jimmy 3 times now. No, this is your 4th time betting against Jimmy.
I might as well
I'm gonna do it again.
I'm
I'm gonna do it again.
Don't bet against the guy. I bet against him.
I'm staying consistent.
I bet against him
Ruben,
once,
I'll give you the
never
final word,
again.
and then we'll move
Never
on, 'cause I
again.
know you
I'm
want to
betting
say
against that
something.
man.
No?
Does he?
What?
No? Okay. All good, all good.
Never mind.
All good. Okay, we will move on
He
to
said
our
Celtics
last
instead.
topic of the day, which we're going to get into a bit of NBA draft talk because this has also been some news since our last episode. The Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes have been decided with the San Antonio Spurs winning the draft lottery. How fitting for them to have a chance to draft what could be a potential generational talent. Victor Wembanyama, the 7'5". Well, the 7'5"
Spurs are taking Scoot.
Victor Wembanyama
Yes.
is the prize that San Antonio will likely be claiming. We have Charlotte, Portland, Houston, and Detroit to round out the top 5. There's been a lot of chat about Wembanyama being the potential best draft prospect of all time. Now, I'm not sure how much you guys have been following up. I think it's a crazy thing too, but
All
I'm not
time's
sure how
crazy.
invested you guys are in Victor Wembanyama. But Oscar, I'm going to defer to you first. What do you think? What's the ceiling for Victor Wembanyama? What do you think's going to happen with him?
I'm a basketball fan, and I love seeing people succeed. But I don't see. He's got his dribble. He's a good shooter. He's a decent defender. I think he's going to do great in the NBA. I just don't think he's going to be the freak that people think he's going to be. You know, people are saying he's the next LeBron. He's going to break the points record, break the rebounds record, break the blocks record. I just don't see that. I see a thin 7'5" guy that is very, very talented, but in the NBA you're up against grown 200, 300 pounders, man. It's grown men, and I think at least until he can adjust, maybe put a little bit more weight on, he's going to struggle. I don't think he's going to just go in and be amazing. I think he might struggle a little bit early. I don't see him being off the bat LeBron things. Personally, I don't know. What do I know?
In my eyes, he just looks like a Chet Holmgren 2.0.
Yeah, he's me, but 7'5".
Obviously, he is. Great footwork, great post fadeaway. He's exactly, yeah. No, but it would have been great to see what Chet Holmgren would have been like in the NBA this year, because I think
That would have
he's
set the
quite
base.
similar.
Yeah.
He's quite similar. Same build, same sort of position. But look, I think he will be successful, but not to the extent that people are making him out to be. You know, I don't think he's going to be another LeBron or whatever. He'll obviously find his role. Maybe probably be the
Well, Zion was
team
supposed to be
somewhere.
the next
And Ben
LeBron as well.
Simmons.
So.
yeah.
He had too many
Ben
cheeseburgers,
Simmons,
though.
you got everyone. But
And Ben Simmons.
I
Magic.
just don't see him to be the guy, the chosen one.
I think he's going to be fantastic. I just don't think he's
I
going to
think
be
it'll be
the
great. Yeah,
next.
I don't think-
he's going to be the next. Great goat. People are already saying he's the goat. He's not even. He hasn't even picked yet.
I mean, that was LeBron as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's different. It's different. LeBron's LeBron. Jay-Z's was rocking up to his high school games, bro. Like you gotta.
Well, I mean, like with the
But
social media coverage right now of Wembanyama's games, I mean, it's been
true,
a
that
lot.
Yeah, but
he's been
But
hosted by
Jay-Z's
the
not rocking up.
NBA.
Jay-Z ain't rocking up in his prime.
Well, I
Didn't
mean, it's
You
someone
know?
fly out to France or something?
yeah. I mean, he's out in France at the moment, so it's kind of hard. Look, I think with Wembanyama, like, you can't put a ceiling on him. I think the saying is, "Sky's the limit." I think he has all the skills. He has all the potential to be great. What is he? I think
I think
all the
it's
websites
7'5".
list him at like a different height. Like some people say
7'5" or
7'1",
something.
7'5".
7'5", I think.
7'4". We'll just say 7'5" for the sake of argument. But he's a talented player. I just think if he wants to be like up at the caliber of a Jordan or LeBron, I think he really needs that physicality. I think he needs that strength because we saw Chet Holmgren, as either Oscar or Tyson pointed out. Like within the first few weeks, just
Got
before the
injured in
NBA
training.
season, well, yeah, he got injured and he's out for the season. So I think he needs to build that strength so then he can suit the physicality of the NBA. But I think you've seen with the Spurs, they're able to develop Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, all those
Yeah, well,
international
it's well,
players.
it's,
So
it's
they're
not, it's not
definitely
even the fact they've
capable of
been able
doing
to
it. But
develop
Pop will be
international
very
players.
good
They've
for him as
developed some
well.
of the best big men of all time in Tim Duncan and David Robinson. So if there's one thing that
Players. Yeah.
is
yeah,
positive is that you think out of all the teams who could be in it for the number one pick, San Antonio is the place to go for Wembanyama. But we all have
Rigged.
similar positions, so I won't take too long on this before we wrap up. But I'm just worried for the kid's health because we've seen kids with similar builds come in with Wembanyama. Like we saw Chet Holmgren, right? Another person who's a big 7-footer. We see Kristaps Porzingis. He sort of just faded away off into the sunset. A big 7'3" shot blocker, big outside shooter. Now Wembanyama, I'd say off the dribble, from what I've seen, is a lot better than what Porzingis does. But I just don't believe that his type of player is like his build and his frame, just his physical intangibles. I just don't believe that when you're playing against shorter guys who are going to be more athletic, they're going to be craftier. It's not just a physical game that only gets you so far in the NBA. And I just don't think that we've seen a player with his type of build. And obviously, you could say he's a unicorn. He's trending in that direction. But you look at the best players of all time, and there seems to be, for the most part, you have to have some physical intangibles that go along with it. I just don't think that Wembanyama is going to live up to a top 10, whatever they want to call him, a Kevin Durant or what do they say, a Hakeem. Or I just don't think he's trending like that for me.
Yeah, the thing is that
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's, I mean, probably the closest thing. Yeah, he's Kevin Durant. He's probably the closest thing that you're gonna get to him, other than like that's been in the league for a while, and just a freak talent, obviously Kevin Durant. But Victor, he's I just don't see him in the paint doing much against 280-pound Giannis or 280-pound Joel Embiid or however
Anthony
heavy
Davis.
Jokic is.
No,
I mean,
I
just
Tucker
don't
think
see him.
Force hasn't been able to make it either. So
Different talent though. It's a bit different
No, but
talent.
I'm-
But,
yeah, they're
But I'm
different.
saying
I
with
think
those
I
like
think
tall
I know what
players.
you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think injury. If the
Spurs.
Celtics really have to
Yeah.
keep him healthy. Oh, not the Celtics. The Spurs really have to keep him
This ain't
healthy and
this ain't
keep him
France. This is
alive
the
for
NBA.
for this first season. So it's the NBA. The best players in the
Yep.
world. And,
No,
and
they're not. No,
it's
they're
going
not.
to be tough for him, and they're not going to make it easy on the guy. They're not going to make it easy.
No.
See what happened to see what happened to really hyped players like Lonzo and things like that. You don't think Joel?
The business.
I think especially
Yeah,
is going to
listen.
give him.
No,
give him some
I
stick.
do agree. It'll be interesting
Because
to
he
see how
just
the
doesn't like anyone.
Wembanyama sweepstakes unfold and who else goes in the top 5. There's some other good prospects as well as potential trades. There's all the Portland noise about them trying to trade for someone. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will
Brandon
have
Miller.
to stop it there. That is all for Priceless Takes episode 32.
Grady.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure again to follow our social media on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We post mainly content centered around sports entertainment, daily content on all platforms. We always are engaging, always looking to comment, especially these three on the panel with me right now. Ruben, I saw you with your little sweet comment the other day that was not responded to. But thank you to the
8 and
panel,
6.
my three guests, Oscar, Tyson, and Ruben, for being with us. I appreciate it very much. We will see you guys next time. That is
Yeah, thank
all
you.
for Priceless Takes episode 32. I am your host, Luca Price. Thank you for listening.